It sounds as if your tourism sector is developing quickly.
Yes, tourism has really developed quite a lot in the past few years, especially since we entered the European Union. We are noticing boom in tourism. You get a very good value for your money. You get pristine nature, very good food and very good wine. That's something we're famous for. So, and you feel welcome and you feel nice. So I haven't seen anybody who would go to Slovenia and be disappointed. Everybody is pleasantly surprised when they come to Slovenia, but they don't expect to see what then they see. I think also for the Americans that now go there, everybody seems to be coming back very happy.
You are a proponent of the expansion of the EU. What other states would you like to see in the EU, and how would Slovenia benefit from their inclusion?
Well, primarily we want to see in European Union states of the Western Balkans. These are countries of former Yugoslavia that we were together in Yugoslavia, and these are the countries where we have a lot of interests, political, economic, and other interests. That's the neighboring region of Slovenia. So we want that region to stabilize as soon as possible. We believe that the sooner they come closer to European Union and then later become member of European Union, the better is for the region. The region will stabilize and will function normally, will progress finally economically as well. And that's good for us as well, because that's the neighborhood, that's our market. And that's also one of the priorities during our presidency, to try to help them, the countries of the region, get ready faster for the membership, at the same time to promote their membership within the European Union.
What kind of time frame do you foresee for
Well,
admission?
it's difficult to say, because it depends on when they're going to be ready. Of course, there are very strict conditions for the membership of European Union. That's why everybody wants to become a member of European Union. And you have to keep those conditions, otherwise you dilute the functioning of the EU. So it will take some time for those countries to reach all the criteria, and you have like 30 chapters that you have to negotiate, and you have to adjust your legislation to legislation of the European Union on environment, on everything. So it might take few years. And I remember that we negotiated almost 10 years until the time we entered. So it might take, it's difficult to say. And also the countries are different. Croatia is already negotiating. They're halfway there, and probably they need just a few more years, or a couple of years, and they will become member. Others might need a little longer.
It also puts a strain on the EU's budget, doesn't it? And particularly when you're thinking in terms of a country the size of Turkey.
Well, it definitely puts a strain on EU budget, because the countries that are entering are less and less developed. Even the countries, when we entered, we were 10 members when we entered, new members, and we were all much less developed than the members who were already there. And in the European Union you have funds. Well, first each country has to contribute to the European budget, right. And then out of that budget there are certain funds, for structural funds, cohesion funds, that a country can apply and get to help. And the less you develop, the more funds you're getting. So now if you're getting more and more poor countries, then you might get a feeling in some other countries, well, why are we just giving money and we're not getting anything back? So I think with the Balkans it's still going to be okay, but with the Turkey it's really it's a huge country, would have been the biggest country in the European Union. But that will take even more time, much more time than for the Balkan countries to enter. So I believe that before Turkey enter, first Turkey will have to change considerably, and probably EU by the time will change as well, and the budget and the functioning, how the budget is structured will probably change as well, because otherwise all the money from the budget would go to Turkey, and that simply would not function.
You're a member of the Eurozone. and some countries in the EU have decided not to join that, that monetary grouping. What have been the advantages for Slovenia to have the euro?
Well, most of the countries do want to enter Eurozone. You have 13 members now out of 27. Of course, some decided not to join, and this is UK, Denmark, and Sweden. Everybody else of the first 15 members joined. So there were 12 there, and then we joined was 13. Actually, now we have 15 members. I forgot Cyprus and Malta joined recently. So you have 15 members, and all the new members are on their way to joining Eurozone. They are preparing themselves. The conditions are very strict on regarding death, regarding deficit and inflation. So you have to fulfill those conditions, so all the new members are preparing, and hopefully in the next few years they will join. What are the benefits? Benefits are two sides. First is symbolic benefit, and it's concrete economic benefit. Symbolically, becoming member of Eurozone was the final proof, not the final, but the visible proof to the people that we are a member of European Union. Because when we joined European Union in 2004, not many things changed for the people. We joined and they live as they lived before, and the honey didn't fall from the sky, as we say, the standard of living didn't change overnight, because the standard of living was changing gradually. Nothing dramatic happened. So when we got to Euro, people, it's the first visible sign that we are a member of European Union. So I think symbolically was very important. People felt that we are part of this large community of Europe, and it was a nice feeling. And that was joined later with Schengen when the borders fall. It was also a visible thing. So that's on symbolic part. On economic part, we have 70% or even more than now than 70% of our economy is tied to European Union. Of our export goes to European Union countries. So we are very much dependent on the trade with European Union countries, and it's so much easier for the companies and for the trade if it's in euros. You don't have exchange rates, you don't have the differences, and it helps. It makes simply easier to trade, and that was the benefit.
There must have also been a psychological impact by removing all the border controls and being part of the Schengen Agreement.
Yes, that happened in December of last year. And that's the second visible sign, very visible. That was really psychologically very important. We were in Yugoslavia. There were borders. There were strict borders, but we did have passports, so we did travel. But there was border there. There was a control at the border, and there was always an anxiety connected with the border. So now all of a sudden. You don't have borders, you can cross wherever you want, and that's something that was difficult to imagine in 1991, that it's going to happen so quickly.